Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I posted and I recently moved from Ontario to New Brunswick, but I'm back. And today you're not going to believe anything I'm going to be talking about because it is insane. Anybody heard of Action Park? This place is the most hazardous place I've ever heard of in my life. One of the only reasons I'm talking about it is because it opened on my birthday. May 26th, but it opened in 1978. So it's older than me, but it's closed now. Or it's closed under this guy's ownership. I think it might have reopened under somebody else's ownership. So this place is in New Jersey, and it's like millions of people go here every single year just for fun because it's like a water park and it's got slides. I'm going to insert a picture of a slide right here and let y'all take that in for a hot minute.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
So obviously, a loop and a slide isn't the safest of attractions. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wouldn't go on it. Can you imagine getting stuck in the loop? And then, like, the lifeguard sends the next kid down, and then, like, that kid comes and gets stuck in the loop, and then you're both just, like, jammed in there, and the water's, like, pushing up against you, and you're like, what now? Or what if you get stuck at the bottom of the loop, and another kid slams into you, and you're stuck there? Like, how do you get out? There's just a lot going on in this picture. A lot happening. I don't trust it. Who trusted this? This actually, I think it closed. It only ran for one season. Wonder why. Obviously a safety hazard because the person who made these attractions wasn't supposed to make these attractions. Like, he was just cutting corners. His name was Eugene. He was just cutting corners. He made on a ski slope, he made like slides. I'll insert a picture of the slides. And they're made out of, like, cement and asbestos. Why? It just doesn't sound like a reasonable thing to do, if you ask me. Another thing this place had was go-karts. And they had, like, a speed limit, but you could jam a tennis ball in a certain position, and it would make the thing not stay under that speed limit anymore. It would make the go-kart just go, you know, like a go-kart, and people would just go like 70 kilometers an hour on these things. This resulted in a lot of injuries. This place is notorious for injuries. I can't believe how many people lived here, judging from all the things that would happen. And just the pictures of the park itself, I don't understand how this place ran for 20 years. Also, apparently the wave pool was more dangerous than a normal wave pool based on how the waves were made. So instead of pushing you back towards the shore, they were notorious for dragging you out into the deeper end and just constantly causing people to almost drown. They also just didn't have a limit for how many people would really be in the pool. They'd cram like 1,000 people in this little pool. So how are the lifeguards supposed to do their jobs properly when they're jamming that many people for them to watch in the small wave pool? They also had this swing that you were supposed to let go of and go into like a pool of cold water. And if you didn't let go, you would just smash into a concrete wall on the other side of the swing. Most of these slides and rides were built by people who had no engineering experience at all. So you could already see how dangerous it's going to be because they would just use a person working there as the test person. And if one person went through the attraction and was fine, they'd be like, okay, it's ready to go. Can you imagine being like the one employer and they're like, hey, so Jared, we built this giant concrete loop-de-loop slide. We'll give you like an extra $1 if you go down it and say that it's safe. They also had instruction signs that basically were like, hey, if you get hurt, it's because you weren't following the rules. Even though multiple attractions were known to break people's feet and hands and just constantly cause people to get cut open. Imagine you're just like chilling in a lazy river and a guy just gets electrocuted next to you. So in 1982 on the kayaking ride, another patron at Action Park also died. So this 27-year-old is on the kayak ride, and I guess he must have fallen off and tried to get back on his kayak or something. And he steps on one of those metal grates that's in the bottom of the pools that's kind of like just there, but it was exposed, and he stepped on the wiring and got electrocuted and died. Regulations in the 1980s were a lot different than they are now. They were much more relaxed. People didn't really check everything all the time. And unfortunately, that ended in 6 people's deaths at what was supposed to be a fun day out with the family or with your friends. And it's really unfortunate that this happened and that a guy who was not an engineer was allowed to just make these attractions. In 1995, actually, the park didn't operate with insurance at all because he was trying to save money. In 1996, the owners of the park were actually forced into bankruptcy. I don't actually feel bad for them at all. So it closed at the end of the 1996 season and did not reopen in 1997. Kind of a good thing if you ask me, based on all of the accidents that would happen here. It's just crazy to me to think that people thought this was okay and a good idea. And I know that it was in the 1980s, but it's not that long ago. Sure, it's like 40 years, but it's still, to me, it doesn't feel like it should be so lenient with rules and restrictions. Especially after the first death, you think they would have made changes, but it took 6 people dying, and that's not even what closed the park. What closed the park was they didn't have money. Had nothing to do with the fact that people were just dying left and right. Can you imagine if I went to like Six Flags or Canada's Wonderland and just like died and everyone was like, this is fine? And I mean, there actually have been deaths at Six Flags and stuff like that, but the rides usually didn't end up fine, or it was like the person's own negligence or whatever, rather than, oh look, this person designed this ride that has no engineering experience at all. Hey, better go on this loop-de-loop slide. I just can't imagine caring more about money than the safety of young people's lives, because you have a wave pool and you have slides and you have a park. Of course children are going to be there. And some of the deaths were adults, and it doesn't make it any different. But you know, people are like, thousands and thousands of people are going to be there every single day. And you're just like, oh, it's okay. I don't care how many people die. I just want to make money. Like New Jersey, what were you doing in the 1980s? Anyways, guys, that concludes this video. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it. I know it wasn't like a murder mystery or a gaming thing this time. But, I mean, I just saw this video at 3 a.m. and I thought I'd make my own video on it because I wanted to talk about how messed up this was. So I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching.